Good picture. Okay, nobody's here yet, so, well, no one will be expecting this yet. Let's see, out east, or out home, it's only 10 to 3 there. Okay.
Should be 10 to 4.
What's that?
Should be 10 to 4.
10, oh, yeah, you're right, it should be 10 to 4. So, wait, nothing's kicking in here yet. We are moving there. Oh, here
Is
it
10
is.
to 4?
Yep.
Should be 10 to 4.
Hi, Cheryl.
10 to 4. Yeah, you're right. Should be 10.
Oh, I gotta turn this down. So wait, nothing's kicking. Hi, Cheryl. See, you got home safe. That's good. Okay, this is another weird shot. I'm sitting way up above you. Up, down. And Purple Wall's here. Hi, Kay. Happy Monday to you, too. And Donna's here. Hi, Donna. And Stephanie's here. Hello, Stephanie. She says, hello, handsome gentleman. Butter us up all the time. We love it. We'll take your buttering. I'll wait just a couple of seconds, see if anybody else is going to join us. We thought we would do this now because we forgot all about doing one yesterday. Our usual Sunday one. And we were with Colleen, more about that a little later on. And some of you, I'm sure, have already seen the video from that, so you'll know who I'm talking about. So I guess we'll just get started. Thought we'd do a little bit of mid-vacation. It's a little past the midpoint now, I guess, because we will be returning home next Saturday. But thought we'd talk a little bit about our impressions of different things that go beyond the videos we've already put up. Janet's here. Hi, Janet. Purple Wall says, Prince Edward Island looks beautiful. It is. It is very beautiful. The weather's been really nice, especially today. It's like summer weather here today. In fact, I was going to put on my shorts this morning, but we were going to head out and go around Highway 6, which takes you out to Cavendish, which is right on the shores of Prince Edward Island. Like, it's beach, sand beaches, sand dunes, things like that. Not that we were intending to go in the water, because I don't mix with water well. I dissolve.
Plus, I think it would be too cold anyway this time of year, so.
Yeah, although when we were out at Cavendish Beach, and you'll see pictures of that later today when I post that video, there were people sitting out there laying on the beach trying to get some sun. So that was quite nice. Purple Wall also says, I wouldn't pay the toll to leave the island.
Yeah, well, that's the only way you go home.
That's the only way you can get off the island. Yeah, you're stuck. There's 2 ways on here and 2 ways off. 2 ways.
But it's not really that bad.
No.
If you really think about it, because when we went to British Columbia, we took the ferry to get to Vancouver Island, and it was, now mind you, they took a car and 2 of us, and it was $110 each way, so it was $220 return trip. Whereas this would cross the bridge, and the bridge is a huge bridge. It's like what, 8 miles long?
Yeah, it's 8 miles long. It's the longest bridge across water that could be ice covered in the world, they say.
Yeah, it's 8 miles long, and so basically it's about $20 each way, but you only pay the toll on the return trip. So, yeah, I mean, they get you coming here for free, but you have to pay to get back out.
I'm just trying to move this in.
So, I don't think that's unreasonable, because we have a highway in Ontario where it has a toll road, and for us just to travel to Toronto and back cost me $60 on tolls. So
yeah, so really, it's not that bad. I mean, depending on what part of the island you want to get onto, depends on which way you go, if you take the ferry or if you take the bridge. But you've got to load your car onto a ferry, and
I don't know how much the ferry is, but I imagine it's about the same price as the Vancouver ferry, which is about $110
yeah,
one way.
You're paying for people and you're paying for your vehicle
yeah.
as well. And last year, one of the ferries sunk.
Yeah.
So, not saying that that was going to happen when we're on it, but I feel safer on the bridge
Yeah. So
with that.
they have to pay for it one way or the other, and you're paying for the cost of the bridge in the ultimate,
Yeah.
or at least contributing to the maintenance of the bridge. So
Yeah. Sue says, "Hi there, looks like you're having a great time." We are. And Derek says, "Hi all. It's a travel week for me to in Northern Ireland and about to travel to England tomorrow. Hope everyone's well. That'll be fun." Um, yeah, so let's back up a little bit. We haven't talked much about the accommodation and the service we've had here. And you know something? Although it's all Canada, each province has its own flavor. So when we were in Quebec, of course, you had that, what I already said in one of the videos, a very European feel to it. You know, the old part of the city, you know, if you'd almost imagine you were walking through streets of, you know, France or old parts of England or something like that, because it has all that history and the architecture and the whole bit. We found on this trip, we've been to Quebec City before many times, and to the province of Quebec too, in Montreal. Um, and I think I said in one of the videos, one of the things is the political climate. Depending on when you go, the political climate in this country, you may find the French people switch right over to English, because they will, and not give you any attitude about that. Or sometimes we have been here before usually when the separatists rear their ugly heads, and things like that, where you'll run into some people in the service industry that won't be so readily willing to switch over to English. You know, they will kind of pretend they don't understand, that kind of thing. But not this time. Everybody was really great in Quebec City. It was very comfortable to be there. Enjoyed it very much. But as I said, the flavor of Quebec City is old world style, if that is a thing. When we hit New Brunswick, well, the people in New Brunswick are very nice, very warm, very courteous. You know, if they come to our province, to Ontario, they must think that we're a horrible bunch of rude, to say the least, people. Like, for example, you're crossing a street, they stop. Yeah, even if there's not a crosswalk.
I mean, they stop in their cars.
They stop in their cars. Oh, in Ontario, you would be a grease mark. I'm telling you, they would not stop, especially in the Toronto area. They would just keep going. You know, there'd be two sounds that you would hear.
Well,
Bump,
and
bump.
if they would have probably eventually stopped, but you'd have a lot of yelling and screaming at you for
Yeah, the whole bit.
for crossing in front of them.
And as you know from the videos we showed of the Halifax Quilt Show and that, there were tons of places to eat. And I think Stephanie mentioned in one of her videos too, you know, it's a foodie's dream there because there's everything you can get. And it's all very close to each other, like, you know, next door kind of a thing. I highly recommend that if you come to Halifax, you get a hotel that is right downtown in Halifax, because you'll be within minutes of anything you want to be within minutes to. Let's see some comments here. Hi, Shelly. Mozilla says, enjoying the road trip, you guys. Thanks for the ride. You're more than welcome. Cheryl says, oh, she was just saying hello to Stephanie. Stephanie says, I think that this is what surprised me the most, how they stopped and let you cross the street and how the party just got started at midnight. Yeah, Halifax, party town, and real partiers. After Stephanie and Cheryl had left our last night in Halifax, Walter and I went to some place called Economy Shoe Store, which was a restaurant, and wow, we went a little, well, not that much later than we usually go, but it was what, 7-ish,
I think.
something. Party was already happening.
And it was really loud in there. You could barely talk.
You couldn't hear yourself think. Not obnoxiously.
But, you know, just a lot of people talking loud and talking over each other type of thing.
Yeah.
Because it had a real noisy background and stuff like that.
And they were having a good time, of course.
Yeah, there was a couple of tables that were having a good time. They were a little extra loud.
A little bit more so rowdy. But it was Saturday night too.
Yeah.
And when we came out, there was a lineup for a place we went to earlier when we got to Halifax called Dirty Nelly's. Actually, we ate there twice for lunch with Stephanie, and they were lined up outside the door to get in, and it looked like there might have been a stayette happening
Yeah.
because there was young lady dressed in white, and they had put a short little veil on her head too. So, and she was carrying some flowers. So I'm assuming that was a stayette.
Yeah.
But they definitely are party animals. Derek says, "Hope you got home to despite delays, etc." This is to Stephanie. The extreme heat over the UK is disrupting flights due to thunderstorms. So hoping my flight tomorrow is okay. Yeah, hope so, Derek. Yeah, there's nothing more frustrating. I really felt for Stephanie.
Yeah.
The frustration. But welcome to Air Canada. Okay, I was surprised when Stephanie said that everything was pretty much smooth getting to Halifax. But getting home, that was more the norm. Yeah, I hate to say so, but it's an embarrassment to those of us that are Canadians, really, with all of that. I mean, it's not our fault, but, doesn't really leave a nice impression upon people who, doesn't leave a good impression on us who live here, for that matter. Okay, so then, of course, what did I say about New Brunswick, Halifax. Now, Prince Edward Island has a totally different vibe. Very laid back, very chillax kind of a thing. We got
And similar here in Charlottetown, there's lots of restaurants all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
and
lots
there's
of
a
places to
really
eat from.
nice harborfront area here that you can walk around. It's a little different than Halifax. Not quite as big, but it's really quite comparable. It's really quite nice here.
Yeah, and now we got here a little early on Sunday afternoon, and it was very quiet, although there were people.
Well, there were a lot of, actually, one thing I noticed here is that there were a lot of stores closed on a Sunday, and even some restaurants were closed on a Sunday because there was a pub we wanted to go to that I looked up, and we got there and we found out they weren't open until Monday, so.
Yeah, which you see out in Ontario,
Everything's open
on Sundays.
every day, so.
Except for quilting stores.
Except for quilting.
Quilting stores are closed
But
on
I mean,
Sundays and
restaurants
Mondays.
are usually open every day, so.
Yeah. So, but here it was a little quiet. As the day grew on, though, moving into evening, there were a fair number of people out and about on the streets. There were some sketchy individuals, which every town, every place you go has some sketchy individuals. You know what I'm talking about. So it's not.
But not terrible.
Not terrible. No, not terrible. But just, I don't know. It was a bit of a contrast. Like they only come out at night, I guess, kind of a deal. But anyways, and we of course, you saw in the video, Colleen took us out for lobster dinner. We had lobster rolls. It was a very nice little restaurant. The waiter there was fantastic. He's French Canadian from Quebec, and of course, Colleen can speak French, and she lived in Quebec, I think, at one point in her life as well. So she could converse with him in French. Not that he wasn't switching over to English, because he did. And he was a bit comical as well, and but a good server. And we had a nice time there. And the amazing thing was, Colleen took us around. As we walked down. Colleen does not live very far from where we're staying, actually, about 5 blocks or so. Yeah. A slow walk at the most. You're at her place in 20 minutes, kind of a thing. And so as we were walking to where this restaurant was, what was called Lobster Wharf? No, Lobster... Shoot, that's on the video for that. She told us things about, like, she was like having her own personal tour guide, because Colleen has lived here since 1984. And she has seen a lot of changes, and a lot of things that haven't changed.
I think it was Lobster on the Wharf or something.
Lobster on the Wharf, yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
But she told us a lot about the history of different things that are things that we probably would never have come across if we hadn't heard it from Colleen. So we got a personal guided tour, as well as a really nice dinner. And if Sean's watching this at some time, we did get to Cows, the original Cows, I guess, in Charlottetown. It's an ice cream place. Now,
Yeah, because I guess the manufacturer is on Prince Edward Island.
Yeah.
So.
In fact, apparently we passed them on the way in. Colleen said we'd had to, coming to Charlottetown, and I don't remember seeing it.
No,
But I wasn't really looking for it. Maybe when we leave, we'll take better note of that.
Yeah.
And their ice cream is pretty good, although I have a review for Sean of the ice cream that he might not be happy with. And that's going to come out on the next video when I upload that, so you'll know what I mean by that. We walked Colleen home, and Colleen, and you saw that on the video I posted yesterday, Colleen gave us a couple of lovely gifts. Some Australian fabric that she has. She thought that Walter could probably make a shirt out of it, and he probably can. And a lovely hot, I don't know what you want to call it, a hot mat or whatever. You know, it could be a hot mat or whatever. Very pretty. And that was very nice of her as well. Plus, she paid for dinner. So, lobster's not cheap. You know, so we really appreciated the time with her. And we're not done with Colleen. Oh no, we are not done with Colleen. Today we did a tour, as you'll see in the video. She recommended that we take Route 6, they call it, and that's why I said we went up to Cavendish Beach and around it. It was very, very nice, leisurely drive. We saw a lot of the scenery, and it was kind of a nice pace from what we have been doing. To be honest, we saw everything that you should see in Charlottetown when we met up with Colleen for dinner. It's not it's a sleepy little place. Okay, let's call it that, shall we?
I mean, it has all the major stores.
And all that kind of stuff.
Everything else in the area. It's not tiny.
Well, part of the problem is this Charlottetown is the home of the birthplace of Canada. Basically, it's where the papers of Confederation and everything were signed here. And there's Confederation Hall, which when we were here last, like 30 some years ago, I think we went in there. It was open then. But they've doing some major reconstruction of it to apparently the way it was originally constructed wasn't really great, and to preserve it, they've had to do a lot of extensive renovations to support it.
To support the internal structure of the building was not faring very well, so it needed to be resupported.
And they've been working on this for 5 years. So you can't go in there right now. There's scaffolding all over the place. It's all fenced off. So there's one of the major attractions right now that's not available. They do have an art gallery of sorts, but there's not really any major curated collections right now to see. They're kind of in between that.
Yeah, like I think we're here in, I think we're here just before what they consider the tourist season is to start. So there's a lot of stuff that they haven't completely set up yet for tourist season.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at what people are saying here, but before I look at these, the other thing is they're just about to start their theater and festival season, and we just are ahead of it by about 2 weeks. We see signs all over town for what's coming up on stage here. They've got some interesting things, it looks like, but they don't start until almost the tail end of June, and then they run until about October or November, actually right up till about Christmas, because there's some special things at Christmas. So we're just here a little ahead of that. But one advantage of that is we're not fighting crowds. I mean, there's people here, they're out and about and all that kind of stuff, but we're not being trampled. Like Cavendish Beach, I am sure in July, if the weather is really warm and that's probably just swarming with people. Today,
there's very few people there. There was a bus tour, but once the bus tour kind of left, we were there. It was pretty quiet there. And that was kind of nice because it made you feel very comfortable and free. And
Yeah. And oh, Lydia's here. Hi, Lydia. Um, Mazzella says we're contemplating a trip across Canada with 3 other couples next year. Your trip has been helpful in giving some insight to traveling other provinces I've never been to. Yeah, every province has a unique flavor we have found in our travels. Although we're all Canadians, we're all very different depending on the area. Jeannie's here. Hi, Jeannie. Kathy's here. Stephanie says, it was just to Lydia. Oh, Lydia asked, did you gents go to the Potato Museum?
no,
Is there a potato museum?
I didn't look
I
for
didn't
one.
see look for one. So, what do you see in a potato museum? Potato, potato, French fries, all the things you can make with potatoes, scallop potatoes, you know, that kind of thing. I don't know. We didn't see that.
No, I don't know what it is.
I haven't even seen anything like that.
I'd have to look it up.
I'll have to look that up. Oh, Laurel is here. And Kathy says, hi guys, thanks for the travel log of your adventures. I'm enjoying the East Coast vicariously through you. I'm just looking. Nadine is here. Hello, Nadine. Bonjour. Marianne is here. Okay, everybody's greeting each other. All right, so our plans for tomorrow. We have tonight here, and then our original plan was we'd be driving off to a place called Summerside, which is not that far away from here, only about an hour, but it's very tiny. I looked up population. Charlottetown is like 40,000 people, so that's small.
I booked this a while ago, and I was thinking, okay, a couple of nights in Charlottetown, and then we'll drive around the island, and then end up in Summerside, thinking that Summerside was a little further away than it is, but it's not that far away. So actually, we did the kind of major drive around today, so we won't have that much to do in Summerside, but we've got things planned for tomorrow. So
yeah, there is a quilt store here called the Quilting Bee and More, and there's 2 quilting stores here that I could find. One's called the Quilting Bee and More, and then the other one's called Island Fabrics. So we're asking Colleen about these 2 places. Colleen says Island Fabrics, she says the fabric's kind of cheap, and she didn't mean by price. She says you might find something. Walter thinks is maybe the equivalent to like a Fabric Land out in our end of the world. And it does look like they sell garment fabrics as well and stuff like that. The other place, apparently, but I don't really remember for sure, it was at the Halifax Quilt Show. Quilting
well,
Bee
we
and More.
must have looked at some of their
We
stuff,
must have.
but I don't know. I don't really recall the names. So
I'm pretty sure I didn't buy anything from them because it's not in my list. I'm keeping a running spreadsheet of stuff that I buy just to keep track of my finances, kind of a thing. And I put in the name of the places in my spreadsheet, and I don't remember putting that in. I should check
the
that
2
again.
guys that make those quilt kits and stuff like that, where are they located?
They're in Nova Scotia.
Oh, okay.
Art East.
Okay.
Yeah, John from Art East. Yeah, they're in Nova Scotia. So anyways, Colleen was saying that the one Tuesday out of each month, I guess the owner of the Quilting Bee and More has a meeting. It sounds like sort of like a guild meeting at the store. And she used to go on a regular basis, but when they used to have their store in downtown Charlottetown, but they moved locations. And Colleen does not have a car. So she hasn't been able to go to any of those. So she said, look, she'd call up the lady, and because they happen to be having this meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning, and call up the lady and see if it was okay if we joined in. And Colleen suggested maybe I could do some video, maybe talk to the owners and whatnot while I'm there. And I said, sure, sounds like a plan. Because we don't really have much of a schedule for tomorrow, because as Walter told you, we're not far away from Somerset.
No, and I had sort of planned to do the driving around the island tomorrow
Yeah, but
on
we
the
did.
original idea, but So we don't have anything really scheduled.
So the day is loose. So we said sure. So I just got a text before we started this from Colleen, and she said, "Yep." They said no problem. We could join in. She's still trying to contact the owner though to see if it's okay if we do any videotaping and if they would be willing to talk to us on camera. So we'll see. I said to Colleen, regardless, I will probably be doing some shopping because it looks like it's a pretty big store, too. So that'll be fun, and I'll videotape as much of whatever as I can to share with all of you as well. So that'll be nice, and we'll probably take Colleen out for lunch, and then after we bring her back home, we'll head our way to Summerside and probably end up vegging in Summerside. Because I have a feeling it has a population of slightly over 14,000. So, yeah, I'm not expecting too much there. But anyways, it'll be fun to do
It's
the
a
same
little
with the store.
closer to the bridge. That's the other thing
Yeah.
that I thought. But so that when we get going tomorrow to St. John, or the next day to St. John, that we would be sort of ahead of the game type of thing.
Yeah, because St. John is a bit of a hike. How far is it to St. John?
It's not too bad. It's
No?
about 2.5, 3 hours away.
Scrunchian says the Potato Museum is right next to the Lobster Museum. Are you
Okay.
being funny? There's no lobster museum. Is there really? You're pulling my leg, aren't you? Pulling my claw. Because I didn't see anything called the Lobster Museum either. Where are they hiding these museums? One thing we saw though. Okay, everybody knows Anne of Green Gables, right? By Lucy Maud Montgomery. You've probably seen the television show, Anne with an E and all that kind of stuff. All very popular. Well, here on Prince Edward Island in the Cavendish area, Anne of Green Gables' house is there. Now,
We saw it many years ago.
we saw it many years ago when we were here then. And as a kid, I came to Prince Edward Island with my parents, and I think we stopped and saw it then too. But here's the kicker, right? Anne of Green Gables, that book is fiction. Anne is fictional. Her house is fictional. The characters are fictional. The house does not exist. Somebody at some point in time decided this would be a great idea to attract tourists and built this place to look like the house that's in the book, okay? And that's fine and dandy. However, Colleen told us, and then we saw it for ourselves today because we did go by it again. She says they have Disney-fied it over the last few years. And oh yes, they have.
They have all these outbuildings and I guess a museum area and everything else there.
And I saw a picture of it online from the air, and there's the house surrounded by this compound, basically, that has, junk, probably, for it all. But it's not just there. All across that Cavendish area, you find the home of Lucy Maud Montgomery, where she was born. Okay, Lucy Maud Montgomery moved to Ontario at one point in her life as well. In fact, and I could be wrong about this, but I think at the time when she wrote the Anne of Green Gables books, she was living in Ontario. Okay? She is a PEIer, but she did leave. She may have come back. I don't know the whole history.
And
I've got that. I may even have that slightly wrong. I don't know. And what?
Anne with an E on the Netflix show was filmed in Ontario.
Yeah, and the whole bit. Well, then there's also, right here in Charlottetown, there's Anne of Green Gables chocolates. And I got some of that in a video. And there's also Anne of Green Gables, what was that other store? It's got little...
Oh, it's like a store that sells
touristy things. Like there's
yeah.
Anne of Green Gables dolls, and Anne of Green Gables stationery, and Anne of Green Gables hats, and all that kind of stuff, right? And even when we were driving on this Route 6, we would see signs for the Anne of Green Gables Museum.
So when we ended up going to Provincial Park, and we stopped in the Provincial Park that looked over Cavendish Beach, and there was a big boardwalk there and everything else. And when we were in the washroom, of all places, I saw a poster in there of the prices of what it costs to go see the Anna Green Gables house. And I guess you could do a tour through this fake house with fake furnishings in it. And the tour through the house was $33 a person.
Yeah.
And then there was some other thing that you could do that I guess they had some woman playing as Anna Green Gables as an actor. And you could have a cordial with her.
Yes.
And that was $44.
Yeah. High tea with, or tea with Anna Green Gables. And at this place where we saw, where the Anna Green Gables house is, down the road there's an amusement park as well. So yeah, Colleen was right in her description. It's Disney-fied completely. Oh, Mona's here. Hi, Mona. Mozilla says, not missing your sewing machines and projects yet? No, but when you see the video I do about my haul, I bought a lot of things. Not done yet. Depends on that quilting store tomorrow. We'll see. No, I'm really not missing it. Actually, it's a nice break from clearing my head. But I'll be back at it for sure when we get home. Stephanie says, saw Anne of Green Gables raspberry cordial when we were in Halifax. Yeah, it's all over here too, which is just basically a sort of a raspberry flavored pop, or as the Americans would say, soda, whatever. Shelly's here. Hi, Shelly. That's okay, she says. Anna Green Gables house and all the trimmings would be a great destination for 10-year-old girls. My kids would have loved it. My youngest was in the musical and played Anne. Oh, yeah. That's who they're gearing it to. Of course. You know, little girls would absolutely love this, for sure. And they know that. That's, you know, they're making money from it, and that's okay. Nozil says, can't wait to see your shopping haul. Eye candy is always fun. Well, I have a lot of it. And Stephanie says, Walter, are you ready to start quilting when you get home? The reason Stephanie asked Walter that is because you bought.
Because I actually bought a quilt kit, and I said I would do it. So
yeah, Walter said he would be doing the quilt kit, and Stephanie says he should bring it along to the Georgia retreat when we go down there in New Year's, and she will help him with it. So we'll see how this all works out, shall we? Oh, I have no doubt he'll have no problem putting it together. I just hope he makes mistakes so I can point them out to everybody live online. Won't happen. Derek says, I was bored on Sunday morning and went to see the Game of Thrones studio attraction here. Large section on how the costumes were made. Amazing craftsmanship. Even had the costumers Janome on display. Ooh, they did it with Janome. Well, that would be interesting. And Stephanie says, or we can all do it together on the YouTubes. There's a possibility too. So it'll be sewing with Walter and Stephanie. Ooh, that might be something. I got competition now. Okay, fine. Have to kill him. Oh, Shelley wants to know, what kit did he buy? Well,
it's a kit made with African fabrics.
Yeah.
And it's blue and white, and I can't remember exactly what.
And I don't remember what it was called. Stephanie might. I don't know. And it's by a company, Canadian company. They're called Meerkat, and there's another word. And
I don't know if it's Incorporated or company or something.
Yeah, something like that. They're out of Elmira, Ontario, which is not that far from us. About an hour and a half drive from us in the Waterloo.
It's all it's a blue. It's a white background with a blue and white background. So
yeah,
and different. And the blues are different patterned blues.
You will see it when I do the haul.
It's not very complicated, but it's I kind of like the way it looked.
Yeah, Cheryl says it's a beautiful kit. Yeah, Stephanie doesn't remember what it was called either, but all the beautiful blues. Yeah. So, and oh, there it is. Lydia's got it. She says it's half square triangles. Actually, Lydia, you're the reason why we bought a lot of that African fabric, you enabler, you. I was starting to pick up some of the half meter cuts they had.
It's very stiff to the feel, right, when you get it. But once it's washed, it becomes very, very soft.
Soft, very soft. It's got a very nice feel to it when it's been washed. So, yeah, I bought a couple of kits when I was in there, and I bought some yardage as well. Nadia's here. Hello, Walter and Stephen. I'm enjoying your videos. I'm glad you are. Shelly says, I love sewing kits. At least I know what it will look like when done. Well, you hope so. Unless you're me. Might look a little different with that. Lydia says, I'm excited to do my table runner. Twinsies, you and I. Yep. Yeah, that's right. I think I got the same one as you got, didn't I, Lydia? You little enabler, you. You're a wicked girl. Wicked, wicked girl. So, let's see. So that's what we're doing. We're going around. So our next major stop after summer side is, of course,
St. John for
Yeah.
2 nights.
For 2 nights.
And then we're going to start heading home through Quebec one night and then back home again.
And that's going to be a mammoth drive, that one, or a marathon
2
drive.
days of mammoth drives.
Yeah, with that. But, you know, at that point, we want to get home.
Yeah.
Get back to life again, the life we know, and figure out how we're paying for all this. Yeah, because it's going to be a bit of a...
We can pay for it.
Oh, I know we can. We're filthy rich. Everybody
Yeah.
knows that. We're just dripping
Yeah,
in
right.
it. Really. Yeah. If I was dripping into that much money, I'd have an extension put on the house, and I'd be buying one of those Innova long arms that are $70,000 that embroider and
I don't know.
bake a cake
I don't
and-
know if they're really any better than your AP.
I don't think they're any better. In fact, that's something that maybe in a future So Chatty we may talk about, because this was a very impressive machine in there. But we started to talk about it after we saw it and everything, and we started to feel there were some problems with a machine that's like that, and we're not going to talk about those right now because that's not part of the scope of today's discussion. So other things, well, when we checked out the hotel in Halifax, somebody left an important piece of his electronic equipment behind. Let's see, who would that person be? It would be him. No, it was not me. I know that was your first guess. Was
I
Walter.
had a special power block for my Apple devices that I paid a fair bit of money for, and I accidentally left it behind. And I did call the Lost and Found, and they have it. So if I send them a prepaid stamped envelope type or a prepaid mailing envelope, then they will send it back to me.
Yeah. And another thing, when we were in Quebec at the hotel we stayed at there, I think in the video I mentioned that we basically paid double for the parking because Walter had forgot that we actually paid for parking in advance. So to get into the underground parking for that hotel, we had to get a ticket and the whole bit. And okay, this is a half-assed way of doing things.
Okay, so I go in.
Yeah, you explain it.
I was sent a message about how to, we had prepaid parking, we had to hit some green button or something like that. We didn't see any green button to hit or anything. I couldn't remember if I had prepaid for parking or not. So I paid for 2 nights of parking when I drove into the hotel. And that's not particularly cheap because it worked out to about $57 for 2 nights of prepaid parking. So we get to the hotel room to check in, and the lady at the reception informs me that we have prepaid parking. And I said, well, I already paid coming in. Can you give me a refund? No, they couldn't give me a refund. I had to go contact the person that runs the parking garage to get a refund. So she gave me the email address of the guy, and I sent him a picture of the parking pass that I purchased plus the parking pass that the hotel gave me, and asked them to give me a refund. Well, a couple of days went by and I didn't hear anything back, and I went back to the front desk and asked if I had gotten the email address correct. And she checked with someone else and says, well, he doesn't process them, only on Fridays he processes them, which is a few days down the road. So I left it, and yesterday on Sunday, I still had not gotten a refund So or any kind of acknowledgement that I sent the message. So I contacted a woman that had sent me a message with instructions to the hotel. I sent her a message, and she responded today that said she was sorry that the hotel couldn't refund me the parking, but she forwarded the message to the guy that looks after the parking, which is the guy I sent the message to, and he responded right away all of a sudden because she had sent the message, and said yeah, he was refunding it, and that would take 24 to 48 hours for it to show up.
Now, there's two problems with this, okay? First problem is why the hotel does parking this way. Because the lady told us, oh yeah, this happens all the time. Don't you find that annoying with your customers? I mean, we were nice about it. We didn't give her a hard time. But I'm sure there's some people in there who say, well, no, I'm staying at your hotel. It's your parking lot. You can just switch that around. I don't need to contact anybody. And you know, rightly so, I feel, with that. Because this is what the hotel tells us. This is what they provide for parking. So why not do something? Their instructions looked simple and clear, except for the green button. And we're still not sure where the green button is. The only thing we can think of is that when you push the button to get the ticket, it sort of lights up with a little green ring around it. Maybe. We're not sure. We don't know when we're coming in there. Why can't they do what other hotels do when they have a parking garage attached? You get it, you just go up, you park. Well, this one had a gate, so you had to push something, okay? But go up, get a ticket thing, go up, give it to them, and they credit it to, if you've already prepaid for parking, credit it to your account while you're there.
Yeah, or you go in, a lot of places what happens is you drive in, you get a ticket, right? And if you want to get back out, you have to pay to get back out, right? So if you went up to the hotel desk, they give you a validated ticket if you've got that. But this one made you want to have to prepay when you had to go in.
The other problem here is we had to do all the legwork for this and not get an answer back. It wasn't until, as Walter said, he directly went to the manager again, and then things happened. Shouldn't have to do that. Okay? However, having said this, and you may not like this, in Quebec, they do their own thing. And it does not seem logical to the rest of the world, because it's not just a question of their parking tickets. There's all kinds of other things in Quebec. If you've never been to Quebec, Quebec City especially, be prepared for it. And you are not necessarily going to win the battle on this, because, like I said, everybody's different across Canada. That's one of the things about the French. The French are stubborn, very stubborn. They have their ways, and when in Quebec, you've got to follow their ways, because they will not bend at all. Now, is that a negative attitude towards the French? Yes and no. It's part of who they are, okay? And you can meet little bastards in Ontario too, so, you know, but what I'm saying, just a warning, I just suggest it. So, we've got a whole lot of comments here we've got to catch up on. Lily's here. She says, I'm excited. I caught it live. Usually have to watch later. I've been enjoying your guys' travel adventures. Well, I'm glad you caught us, Lily. Lydia says, we drove almost 14 hours on Saturday just to get home. Love traveling, but man, it's very nice to sleep in your own bed. Well, that's from Halifax to Ottawa, right? So, whoa, 14 hours? You must have been dead. And Stephanie says she agrees with Lydia. It was nice to be in my own bed last night, and I slept well. Yep. So nice to be home, Lydia says. Your kids must have been so happy to finally have Mama home. Derek says, I've taken the plunge and registered for a UK Festival of Quilts in August. My first attempt at EPP at the workshop being led by Kate from the last Homely House. Oh, that'll be fun. I think she'll be a patient teacher. Yep, I think so, Derek. Oh, that's exciting that you're able to get to meet. I don't know if you've ever met her before, but I have met her via video because I interviewed her, and she's lovely. She's absolutely lovely. Um, oh, Lucy's here. Hi, Lucy. Um, and then Derek says there were quite a few North American visitors at it last year when it was restarting properly after the pandemic. Really busy and had some amazing workmanship on display. Um, V supportive. V. I think that was supposed to be something else. Supportive of new quilters. Okay, I'm just trying to translate it because I'm not sure what a V means here. I mean, there must have been something else, but typing on these keyboards, what can happen? Shelly says they hope you'll forget about it and they get paid twice. Had issues like that on a trip to Florida once. Yeah, because there would be probably some people who would say, oh, well, just let it go.
Yeah.
We're not those people. I mean, if it had been $10.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a small amount of money, actually parking in Charlottetown's cheap.
Oh yeah, holy crap!
$8.50 or something a day. So.
And if you're here, and after,
and if you're here on Sunday, it's free.
and I think after 6 o'clock at night during the week, it's free.
No, that's after midnight.
Is it after midnight?
Yeah.
I thought the meters on the street said
Oh, I don't know.
we're in the parking garage.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure we'll have to look out there. But either way, but on Saturdays and Sundays it's free. So that's a bonus. And there's lots of parking. Now again, that might change if you come here in, say, July and August. I don't know. Might be more populated. And Shelley says we routinely drive 12 hours to and from CA. It's California, gets to visit family.
Is the only one person driving, or?
Yeah, do you share the driving, Shelley? Like in our case, Walter does the driving. I don't. He's driving Miss Daisy. You've heard me say that many times before. Patricia's here. Hi, Patricia. Glad to see you guys out enjoying the East Coast. Has some of the most beautiful... I'll just spit on the screen. Oops. Enjoying the East Coast has some of the most beautiful scenery in Canada. It does. And Shelley says 2 of us, we do trade off. Yeah. But like I said, well, first of all, well, if I start to drive, Walter would be kicking and screaming.
Yeah, I'm not a good passenger.
No, he's not.
And Steve's not a good passenger either, but not as bad.
But I'm not a bad driver. I'm a nervous driver. Always have been. I don't.
And you don't like driving long distance?
No, I don't. I do not. I like to be driven. It's just that kind of snotty rich bitch attitude that I would like to have. Yeah. And I know some of you are going to say like to. Anyway, so what else can we tell you? Have we run into, though, any bad service problems beyond what we just mentioned, which are really, really, really minor? I don't think we have.
No, very
no.
good. Very
Everybody's
nice.
been very nice.
Actually, the hotel here in Charlottetown was really nice. We arrived really early, at about 11:30 or something like that, and and check-in time's at 4 o'clock, and I didn't really expect that we would be able to get into the hotel before 4. And they said, oh, they didn't say anything. They said they checked me in, and they said to me, sorry, the room's not ready yet. They would take my phone number and give me a call when the room was ready. And then we went out for lunch, and about within half an hour or so, or 3/4 of an hour or so, I got a call that the room was ready.
Yeah.
So that was a bonus.
Yeah. And we're parked here. They had 3 methods of parking for this hotel. You could park on the street like we already talked about. There's parking in the parking garage that's sort of behind the hotel. But it's kind of a public space. It's not exclusive to the hotel. So basically you just like any public parking garage, you drive in, you get a ticket. When you go out, you pay the ticket. And as Walter said...
And the hotel is linked, it's next to a shopping, sort of a downtown shopping mall, and the garage services. But there's a path that goes from the hotel to the garage from from the hotel to the garage.
Yeah, so
that's-
you're not really outside once
Yeah.
you're in the garage, which is kind of good for that. But then there's valet parking. But the valet parking's $23 a day.
And I think they just park in the same garage.
They probably just have an area in the parking garage that's more private, and they just park it in there. Well, we don't like somebody else driving our car. And when I say we, I mean Walter. Driving our car. Plus, it's a bit of a pain when you want to take the car out. You got to wait for them to bring it around to you and all that kind of thing. This is easier and less expensive, basically.
Yeah.
So that's the route we have taken. Derek says the V was very okay. He ran out of characters. Stephanie says Walter is a good driver, and if he's not, Stephen will tell him so. Well, I don't tell him. I just make very loud suggestions like, holy shit, there's a car coming, like you might want to slow down. Or, did you see the stop sign? What stop sign? Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, if there was a brake on my side of the car, I'd be using it. Lucy
And you
said,
do all the time.
yeah, I know. The imaginary
Imaginary
brake.
break.
Yeah. Lucy says, that's fine. One of you likes to drive, the other likes to be driven. Perfect. Yep. Mazel says, if I don't learn to pull the fifth wheel trailer, hubby is stuck driving. If I don't learn to pull the fifth wheel trailer, hubby is stuck driving.
So it sounds like hubby's stuck driving.
I guess. Roman. Sometimes people, you're cryptic. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not thick. It's you. Okay, just saying. Yeah. What else can we tell you? Anything else that really that got us going? Excitement City. Walter did buy a replacement plug for the one he forgot. Now I have a new mission. I always go through the room with a fine-tooth comb because usually find something, usually that someone else, not me, has left. So now I have to
I'm
check
not
out
very
outlets.
good first thing in the morning at looking for stuff, so.
Oh, Scrunchin says Hyacinth, Bucket, and Richard. Oh, or Bouquet.
Yeah.
Bouquet. It's Bouquet. Yeah, okay, I get it. So, I think that's it right now. Plans tonight? Well, we had a big lunch. We saw something we shouldn't have seen. Yeah. Just a recommendation, ladies. When the weather is hot out and you're wearing a skirt or something because it's hot and everything like that, you might want to just not sit on a chair with your legs wide open in a restaurant where the skirt goes up, and yeah, don't need to see that if you get my drift, because we had that today. Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't have been looking.
I wasn't. I couldn't miss it. It was damn near in my face. Have another drink. Yeah. Okay, guys. Cheryl. Okay, we won't get into that, Cheryl. Yeah. So, okay. I think now that having said that is getting you guys all off into another tangent here. That's not that kind of show. So we'll say goodnight. I'm going to put up another video later tonight, which will show our little travels today around the island. And yeah, stay tuned. There's going to be more before we get home. So everybody, have a good time, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah.
Okay, say goodbye, Walter.
Goodbye.